community in Stuart Castle, Duncan's Trelawney, Jamaica. We broadcast on FM 96.7 locally and is heard worldwide on fitfmja.com. Our mission is to amplify diverse voices and opinions, inform, educate, entertain, and engage listeners of all ages and lifestyle while promoting responsible community development. Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Cultural Mix, an exciting radio show identifying and showcasing cultural diversity across the world through music, interviews, and lively discussions. Join Bev Moonchild on Fit FM 96.7, Fridays 6 to 8 p.m. Cultural Mix, everything cultural. Tune in. Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Know yourself, know your roots, know your culture. You're in tune to Cultural Mix with Bev Moonchild and Fit FM 96.7, Fridays 6 to 8 p.m. I'm Mara Sedat.
Never let it make you wear a frown. Well, you have only one life to live, so you're patient. You've got to give. Yes, I'm standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall. I'm standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 above them all. Well, things may not be like you want them to be. Yes, so be wise. You got to try carefully. Well, there may be obstacles in your way. Just remember, Rome wasn't built in one day. I'm standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall, standing
10 feet tall. I'm standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall. Welcome. It's Friday. It is September 9th. It is 2002. And the program is Cultural Mix. I am Bev Moonchild, your host, and this evening we have another awesome program, another awesome show, another awesome discussion lined up for you, my friends. We say share the program as you see it coming up now. Share with your friends and let them know that Cultural Mix is on, and we are going to be having an awesome discussion with our guest who's already lined up and ready with us, ready to talk. Empress Naftali. We're going to be hearing some of her music, and a little later, we are going to be talking with her. She's in South Africa, folks, so you know that Fit FM, we're in South Africa now. Cultural Mix is in South Africa. We are really happy to have her. But we're going to talk quick, and then we go back to listen something from Empress Naftali. We want to say welcome. We say Akwaba to everyone who has joined us, whether you're joining us from Jamaica, you're joining us from anywhere in the world, or you're on Fit FM, or you are on www.fitfmja.com, whatever we are listening on. We say welcome, happy to have you, and we say bring on your friends and families. Let them listen this evening. Let them listen Cultural Mix, another Friday evening program. We ask you to stay with us until 8 o'clock. Stay with us for the next 2 hours. We're going to be talking to our guest for the greater part of the program, right? We're going to be listening to her music, and we're going to be talking to her roots reggae music. It is really Cultural Mix, the culture of reggae, the culture of Rasta, and she's in South Africa. We are in Jamaica. What an impact the culture would have had on her. So this evening, it is truly Cultural Mix as we talk with Empress Naftali. It is really good to be here, and we're saying keep sharing the program with your friends and your family wherever you are. We say listen, like, and share. We're going to listen to a little of Empress Naftali's music, and then we come right back and talk to you, Queen, in a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
Times we're living in. That's one of the first one we're going to be listening from Empress Naftali.
but we not giving in. As it was told from the beginning, be careful of your grave, you will be digging in. It's just the times that we're living in. It's hard, but we not giving in. As it was told from the beginning, be careful of your grave, you will be digging in. Things may be rough, things may be tough, but we keep holding on to the promise Jah has made, that even through the greatest tribulation we will still be saved. As much as there are battles that we go through, by maintenance of valor, triumph will always be due. Keep on holding firm, just grace and mercy we surely earn. It's just the times that we're living in. It's hard, but we're not giving in. As it was told from the beginning, be careful of your grave, you will be digging in. It's just the times that we're living in. It's hard, but we're not giving in. As it was told from the beginning, be careful of your grave, you will be digging in. Rastafari leads the way every single day. By being devoted, we'll never crumble or sway. His glory resides in each one who seeks Him. Victoriously through His power we win. Servants of His world, the love He provides sustains. Blessings abound for the faithful who maintain. It's just the times that we're living in. It's hard, but we're not giving in. As it was told from the beginning, be careful of your grave, you will be digging in. It's just the times that we're living in. It's hard, but we're not giving in. As it was told from the beginning, be careful of your grave, you will be digging in.
Bev Moonchild, I hear me. I sang the bar, I sang the top. Bev Moonchild, I hear
Him keeps us from sin. Upfulness, faithfulness, precepts of Him keeps us from sin.
That we're living in, times that we're living in. It's hard, but we're not giving in. I think that theme is suited. And even in Jamaica, the time we're living in, hard, but we're not giving in. Empress, welcome to Cultural Mix.
Greetings. Give thanks for the warm welcome. Greetings to all the listeners and viewers. It's such an honor to be here.
Yes, my sister. What time is it now in South Africa?
In South Africa, it's 10 minutes past 1 a.m. But I'm currently in Uganda, so it's 10 minutes past 2 a.m.
You're in Uganda now?
Yes.
So it's after 2 at this time. So guess what,
Yes.
sister? We want to say we are reaching far and we are reaching wide. From South Africa to Uganda to Jamaica, Cultural Mix. We want to welcome you to the studio of Fit FM 96.7, albeit you're on a video call. But guess what? We are one world, we are one love, and we are one life. So
True.
thank you so much. I just listen to that music now and I'm saying, wow, where would that inspiration come from for such a song? Times that we're living in. It's reggae.
Yes.
What's the influence?
The influence and the inspiration of the song Times We're Living In is really something of observations of life. You know, we go through the hardest of times, but we always have to remember the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. So despite going through all the hardships that we endure in life, there's so much blessings that come forward. And that is why I wrote the song, because in this globally, we're going through one of the toughest times, but we're going to overcome it. We're going to be conquerors of those moments. You know, we're not going to always be in these hard times. There will be a shift, there will be a change, there will be an elevation. You know, it's about empowering people that are going through a difficult stage and period in their life, but also giving them strength and courage to know that things have a way of changing. You can overcome. You will overcome, definitely.
So the song you spoke about just now, what I want to find out from you as we begin is what led you into reggae music.
Reggae music is coincided with my journey in Rastafari. I've always been inclined to the performance arts, music, drama, but when I started rising in Rastafari, I entered reggae as being a messenger for the movement, being a messenger for the Most High, you know, using my teachings that I gained with my spiritual journey to inspire, uplift, and heal others through the word sound.
You talk about Rastafari. What would have influenced Rastafari for you to be a sister now embracing Rasta? Where did that influence come from?
The influence for me came from really seeking something spiritually that encourages being self-elevated, encourages having a personal relationship with the Most High that is unconquerable. Because I've always been a person that's always seeking for the truth, seeking to understand, seeking wisdom. And my journey with Rastafari began as something of an answer to what I was looking for in spirituality, because it brought me, even though I'm in Africa, it brought me so much understanding of Africa as a whole continent. It brought me so much understanding of His Imperial Majesty that it really made more sense to me than following something else.
So the influence of Rasta would have come to you through someone, through an organization. What would have been that trigger for you?
Well, when I started rising, I was in university, and I can say I received the call. I received the call of Rastafari because I wasn't totally inclined in that kind of liberty, but it was something that just shifted inside of my being. And I was like, what is this? I need to know more. I need to learn more. I need to understand, you know? And so I began seeking, researching, reasoning with brethren and sisters within South Africa about the movement to kind of understand what it was about. And for me, it's such a powerful journey to have embarked on, because I was seeking for something that could also give me healing and balance and stability. And I found that in Rastafari.
It is amazing that you have spoken about the healing and the balance and the liberty that you found in Rastafari, being someone who is outside of Jamaica, where Rastafari would have started. We are seeing the impact not only of Rasta, but the impact of reggae, the impact of the culture of this place where we are called Jamaica. You would have wanted, you say, at that time to find a little balance in your life. How old were you at that time, Empress? What age you talking about? Round about what time?
At the time, it was 2011. I was 19 years old. I remember it clearly. I was at university, and something just shifted inside of me, like an awakening happened, you know? And for me, I'm the type of person, I love researching things and understanding knowledge, you know? And even though the movement has been established in Jamaica, it really takes you back to your African roots, because that's inherently what it's about, you know? Being connected to those African roots. And being an African and growing up, going to private school and university education, not really getting the truth of Africa, not really getting the truth about African liberty, even though we are in an African country, you know, there's so much that was kept from us, so much knowledge that wasn't given unto us, because they know that knowledge empowers one so much more, you know. So for me, it was very important to really go into something where I feel balanced, I feel empowered, I feel this journey just taking me to higher heights, you know, because I'm always in reverence of the Most High. Even the music that I've decided to make is always in reverence of Him and serving His children through the works. So Rastafari has really brought such a beautiful changeover in my life, that I give continual thanks and praises for.
It's interesting hearing you. You say itinually just now, and we know those are the terminologies that Rasta uses. Itinually meaning continually.
Yes.
I hear you mention private school.
Yes.
At what point of the journey, or let me change the question. What did you find out that struck you the most when you started to search for self? Wanting to find that balance. What struck you the most?
What struck me the most was so much of African history was hidden from us, because the man that is in power, Babylon that is in power, writes in their favor. And you, because our African continent was colonized, this education has just been passed on from generation to generation to generation. And even when I was in school, I was like, something's not right here. We're only learning about, European history. We're only learning about, in South Africa, it was about apartheid. We only learned about certain specific parts of South African history. But we weren't learning about His Imperial Majesty. We weren't learning about the leaders of Africa that really brought such a huge change over, So for me, it struck home for me because I finally found that I'm finding the truth, I'm not finding something that I'm led to believe is the truth.
Yeah, it is funny when you talk about being in Africa and not learning anything about Africa. Can you imagine?
Imagine that. It's a sad state of affairs, because you don't realize the greatness that you're a part of, because you're so indoctrinated in a sense of what they want us to believe, not what we should know about our history, what we should know about our roots, And there's so much more power when you have knowledge of self, when you have knowledge of where you come from. So for me, being able to be on a journey where I'm constantly educating myself about African truths, my roots, my heritage, my journey with Rastafari has brought so much more blessings into my life, because it's a journey. It's not just something that you go to maybe a church building and you're reading the Bible. It's like an continual journey, and that is for me the greatest blessing, because you keep on rising, you keep on learning, you keep on growing. Truth is always revealed over and over again. It can never be hidden.
It's a liberty.
Yes, it's a liberty for sure. It is a liberty.
It's a liberty. So you have embraced Rastafari, and with Rastafari comes the reggae music.
Yes.
How are you using the music now to liberate not only yourself, but to liberate others? What's the approach that you're taking with this music, with the message in the music?
The approach that I'm taking with the music as Empress Naftali, or I call myself the Empress of Love, but love also comes with truth. And if people listen to my music, they will see I'm very upfront about subjects that are to uplift and inspire people to know what the truth is, My music is very much a message that I relay. I see myself as a messenger. I don't just see myself as a singer or an artist. I see myself as a messenger, and those messages come from the Most High and observations and experience. But it's something that I give unto people because it's a healing frequency that you put out there. It's a vehicle for truth, rights, justice. So when you listen to my music, you can hear that I'm really trying to bring forward a message that will empower people and inspire them and bring healing even in the toughest of times when you listen to my music. Yes.
Yes. You are in Uganda. You're from South Africa.
Yes, I'm in Uganda for works. But I'm going back to South Africa. So I'm from South Africa originally. Yes.
What are the similarities in, because the program is Cultural Mix, what are the similarities now? You're in another country and you're from another, and you're talking to me here in Jamaica. What are some of the similarities as you go through Rasta and the Rasta experience, not in Jamaica, but the Rasta experience in South Africa and maybe Uganda and other parts of Africa? Are there any similarities?
I think the greatest similarity is the ainity, the true love, the pure love that radiates from Rastafari globally. There's an essence of being unified or united as one. And I find that very inspirational because we live in a world where we are taught to hate, we are taught to fear, we are taught to do so many things that are negative. And we in a movement that is really about positive liberty. It's about love. It's about peace. It's about being these champions of peace. Even though we are upfront about the injustices that are there, we are able to bring forward a healing as well, a different perspective. And I think the similarities is that there is pure and true love in it. There's true love. You can go anywhere in Africa, or you can go anywhere in the world, and the same respect will be shown to you as a Rastafari queen or a Rastafari king. There's a level of honoring and cherishing another Rastafari or another being, because we're for all people. We're about people. It's for the people, by the people. Yeah.
As you talk about for the people, by the people, we know that there was some political upheaval in Uganda lately, towards, was it last year when they had the general election? And there is a particular person who was putting up himself for leadership there in Uganda. Are you aware of what is happening with Bobby Wine?
I'm not aware of exactly what was happening with him now, but I was aware of at the time when everything was happening. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Oftentimes, and himself being an artist too, oftentimes there are persons who take up the liberation struggle and they would power the messages through the music. They would power the messages through poems or poetry, for that matter. Dub poetry is one of the main way people power the liberation message through. So using the art to power your message. Earlier, you did say if persons listen to music, they will hear the message. But we have not listened to all your songs, but which one you think we can play now that we really can see the message of Empress Naphtali coming through that particular song? Any one of them you want us to play now?
I'd like you to play Judgment Due.
Repeat that one.
Judgment Due.
Judgment?
Judgment Due.
Judgment Due. Judgment Due. So we're going to listen to that one. We come back and we talk about the song, where it's coming from, what inspired that piece of music. We're on Fit FM 96.7. Cultural Mix is a program, and we are now listening to Judgment Due, Empress Naphtali. We soon come back.
2, 3.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when Jaja comes home? What you gonna say when the judgment due? Which end of the battlefield are you when Jah come to school? Which end of the battlefield are you when Jah come to school? Even to the perilous days, we have to give thanks and praise. Since far we have made this eternal, it's not a place. Many kind of the chart, it leaves them in a daze. Been giving you life as a lassie, I's grace. Them say choose and pass wisely, even though we love, they despise me. Our allegiance is to the Most High with humility and duty. Upon the wings of the angels we fly. On the wings of the angels we fly. What you gonna do when Jaja comes for you? What you gonna say when the judgment due? Which end of the battlefield are you when Jah come to school? Which end of the battlefield are you when Jah come to school?
Best moonshine, I hear me. A song the pop, a song the dust. Play it again, play it again. We tune in at Fit FM 96.7. We tune in. Play that tune there again, baby. We love
What
it.
you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
96.7.
What you gonna do when Jaja come for you? What you gonna say when the judgment due? Which end of the battlefield are you when Jah come to school? Which end of the battlefield are you when Jah come to school? Even to the perilous days, we have to give thanks and praise. This fire we have made is eternal, it's not a place. Many kind of love tried, it leaves them in a daze. Been giving you life as a last I's grace. Some say choose the passes wisely, even though we love, they despise me. Our allegiance is to the Most High with humility and duty. Upon the wings of the angels we fly. On the wings of the angels we fly. What you gonna do when Jaja comes for you?
96.7, the best in reggae music.
When the judgment due? Which end of the battlefield are you when Jah come to school? Which end of the battlefield are you when Jah come to school? Jah trample the beast, Haile Selassie stronghold of the east. Standing up for the ones who are thought of the least. Divinely protected at Neger's feet. I never comply and accept defeat. Hotter lava Babylonians can't stand the heat. There's a universal order defending the humble and meek. Most I always there for those who seek. Words of wise we engage with and speak. Words of wise we engage with and speak. What you gonna do when Jaja comes for you? What you gonna say when the judgment due? Which end of the battlefield are you when Jah come to school? Which end of the battlefield are you when Jah come to school? This is not a joke, the truth is harder to swallow than a pill. How much innocent blood do they want to spill? Watch out when Jah perpetuates his will. Warriors and warriors determined to fulfill. His grace and mercy sustains us still.
Welcome back to Cultural Mix. I'm your host, Bev Moonchild, and it's Friday, and we're happy for those of you who are joining us. We are talking with Empress Naphtali. She's born in South Africa, but at the moment she's in Uganda. Sister, welcome back. As we continue the discussion, this one, what you gonna do when Jah come for you? What really are you asking? What are you asking the people? What they're gonna do? Well, what is the question that you're asking?
The question I'm asking is, are you on the right path? Do you know or feel that you're on the right path? Are you on the right path with the Most High? Are you on the right path? You know, because as much as we want to tiptoe around it, the judgment is coming, you know, it's already perpetuating itself. So is your spirit right with the Most High? Is your spirit right with what you're doing, you know? Because there's so much evil that happens in the world, and people that have gotten away with it in a sense over centuries, over decades, it's coming, you know. There's no turning away from it. It is surely coming. That judgment is coming.
When you say the judgment is coming, what are we talking about? What tell me in your eyes what the judgment will look like.
The judgment will look like the Most High truly stepping in for all the unruly evil things that have been done to humanity, you know. Life is all about cycles. Life is all about the ebb and flow of these things that manifest themselves. You can't do wrong and expect right to always come your way, you know. There's a balance in life, and the Most High is an overseer of all those things. It is not our duty as humanity to judge, but surely his judgment will be clear, you know. And there's guidelines in life for each one to live by. And the thing about society is so much wrong has been condoned as being something right when it isn't that way. And it's something that people need to understand. You're not going to get away with it forever. You know, you can't get away with being wrong forever.
I listen to you, Empress, and I'm saying the judgment is going to come. And when we look, especially in your part of the world, you're in Uganda now, and there are so many countries like Uganda that would have been experiencing so much injustice from the system. You talk about Babylon, from the Babylon system. What are the people? What are you doing? Especially you have a platform, you have music, the art that you use. What really is going to happen? Are we just gonna sit and say when the Most High is ready, the Most High will do what He wants to do? What do you think the people should be doing to help themselves?
Each one has a role to fulfill in manifesting their purpose that the Most High has sent them to do. And as a collective, when we rally around one another and start to really put our minds to rectifying these injustices as a people, you know, that's the most important thing that we need to do. There has to be a unity and an unity behind everything. We can't be separate because it's happening to every walk of life. No stone will be left unturned, if you understand what I mean. It's just one of those things where there is strength in unity, you know? And as a collective, so many things are shifting in humanity at this moment, spiritually speaking. So many things are shifting in this world that we know. As much as we bombarded with the side of reality that Babylon wants us to believe, so much is shifting spiritually within people. And there's a truth and awakening that's happening for each person. Nobody is going to be left unturned because you can't fool the people all the time. That's the thing. That's the reality.
You think the people are coming together? You think the unity is coming forward?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I've been observing things and I'm seeing there's a huge shift in people. As much as, you know, with media, we always bombarded with there's so much hatred, so much disunity, so much fear. But people are really rallying together because they realize that it's enough. It's enough, you know? And that is one of the things that we need to be empowered as one. The division is what has kept us in this kind of pitfall of life, you know. By being divided, they conquer us even more because that's just how they know if we are divided. If there's power in numbers, by dividing us, they know that they can make us feel powerless, you know.
The music in South Africa. How is your music going in South Africa?
It's really picking up. I give thanks. I give thanks that it's starting to pick up. There's starting to be a shift in the music being accepted and being played more, and the music is spreading. The message is definitely spreading more. I remember in the beginning it was like kind of something that I was still waiting for it to happen because internationally my music was being heard. It was being played on international radio stations. But now things have shifted so much that I'm doing more performances in South Africa as well. There's a lot of DJs that I've connected with that give me interviews, that give me airplay, and I'm grateful for that for sure, because it's been a journey. I've been doing this for a decade. It's been 10 years now, and finally I can see where there's a lot of growth that's happening, especially in South Africa.
Okay. How is it doing where you are there in Uganda?
I have a radio interview next week, Friday, in Uganda. So it's spreading here as well. I'm going to be shooting 2 new music videos in Uganda. So it's moving. It's moving, you know. That's just the reality that I'm facing right now, and I'm grateful. I give thanks.
It is interesting to hear you speak. When I heard the name Naf, is it Naf or Naphtali?
Naphtali.
Naphtali. So we hear the PH, Naphtali.
Yes.
Persons who are familiar with that kind of name would associate it with 12 tribes of Israel here in Jamaica. Is there any association?
I selected the name because that's my tribe, you know. I'm a person that I like to understand different pieces of knowledge and have a kind of self-awareness and where I come from, you know, because when you have knowledge.
Tribe?
Sorry?
How did you identify your tribe?
By my birth date.
Your birth date?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Talk to me. How does it go? How does it go? I can identify my tribe here, no?
Yes, you can. So it's from the 1st to the 25th of every month. There's a different tribe. So from Naphtali is from from the 21st to the 1st to the 25th is Naphtali, which is in January. Then when are you born?
April 23rd.
Sir?
April
The 23rd. You Reuben. Your tribe is Reuben, the tribe of strength.
Reuben?
Yes.
That's a tribe of what?
Strength.
Strength. Okay. So Reuben. So I would be Reuben.
Yes,
all right. What about no, I'm gonna have this with you now. What about August 28th?
August 28th, Zebulon.
That's Zebulon. That's
Yes.
Zebulon. Now you're what date, Julia? March 23.
March 23 would be Benjamin.
Benjamin. Okay. So you selected your tribe. We associate the tribes here in Jamaica with the and I think maybe that's how it is all over. The 12 tribes of Israel, is that it?
Yes, that's correct.
The 12th tribe. So the Naphtali now, what really is Naphtali focused on?
The Naphtali is the tribe of love. So each tribe has a function. Each tribe, like Reuben is strength, Benjamin is elimination, Joseph is imagination. So each tribe has their own function and each one plays a role, in what their purpose is to fulfill on this earth.
The Naphtali is love.
Yes, that's correct.
So you're fulfilling your purpose through that principle of love.
True. That's the truth.
How has it been for you? What, 10 years or how long?
It's been 10 years now.
When you started to cite up Rastafari, how was that for your family?
Oh, wow. For my family, they were against it. As a daughter, as a daughter of my parents, they didn't understand what was happening. They had no understanding. They were against it initially in the beginning, but now they've started to understand that this is a part of who I am. This is me. They have to accept it, because I only show love towards them, but it's always been a battle with family, I think that's with all people that rise in Rastafari. It's strange, when you grow up maybe in a Christian home, people don't really understand what this journey is about because they're like, yes, but there's Christ. But I'm like, there's Haile Selassie, It's really introducing something new to them, something that they never completely understood. But now there's more of an acceptance because they see the change and the difference that has happened in my life because of it, because Rastafari has saved I and I life. That's how I view it. He saved I and I life. He's brought me back to who he created me to be, and that is the most important thing because we always have to be in alignment with who the Most High has created us to be. We live in a society that tells you need to be this, you need to be that. But when you take the journey of Rastafari, you really discover inherently who your soul has been created to manifest as,
So you find yourself, you find your purpose.
Definitely. I found my purpose in Rastafari. I found myself, and it's been such a magnificent journey being able to do so because I feel often in life we misunderstand ourselves. We don't have an understanding of self because we're so always bombarded with things that keep us off of the track of who we're supposed to be. People are so preoccupied with living by societal standards that kind of detract from what the Most High has created you to be because you'll be so focused on doing a 9-to-5 that you don't really realize what is my passion, what am I about, what am I meant to do, instead of just being a carbon copy, following kind of a lifestyle that doesn't encourage you having awareness of self. It just encourages you to have a means to go by through life. But when you reach a certain point in life, when you're older, you realize, but this wasn't really what I wanted for myself, and then time is maybe up and it's too late. But when you really start discovering yourself and understanding yourself and being empowered by who you are created to be, there's so much value that you add into this world because you're in alignment with what the Most High has sent you here to do.
A lot of us, you're correct. A lot of persons who, when they decide to search for self, it would have been after they would have gone through the school, because I find everything else is taught at school. I'm just listening to you now. I realize it's the same educational system everywhere. It's not changed. It's the same thing. So
Mm,
when you begin to find self, it becomes difficult when you begin. It gets easier as
mm,
you go through the journey. But the resistance also that you spoke of, it's because of the same teachings that parents would have gotten, and their parents would have gotten the same teachings,
mm.
and their parents. So it's a cycle. And so when you
Yes.
decide to find self, when you decide to read, when you decide to search for who you are,
Mm.
it is hard in the beginning, because you first have to unlearn those
Exactly.
things that you would have learned. And somebody said to me, if it took you 10 years to learn something, it is pretty much going to take you that same amount of time to unlearn that thing. And it's hard for a number of persons when they begin to search for self and to search for purpose. But listening to you, I would have realized that you would have, put a lot in this. What, 10 years? You say it's been a decade that you're trying to find self, and you are
Mm.
trying to do this through the principles of Rastafari and through the music, which a lot of persons find self through the music, through the arts. And we see the importance of that.
Mm.
Um, in Africa, in South Africa, as a matter of fact, where apartheid was so much rife there,
Mm.
where as individuals you would not have initially learned anything about self or anything about Africa. When we
Mm.
talk about racism and we're talking about an African country, South Africa comes to mind for most persons, where would have seen administrations when they carry out that kind of act against African people. How is it now under new administrations of people who are not from the European lineage, right? How is it now? How are things in South Africa? It's a political question, and let me hear how you would answer.
Things in South Africa, after apartheid, I can say, when that changeover happened, there's a lot of things that had to, like you say, habits, life is created over a period of time, you
Hmm.
know, and South Africa has obviously moved away from this apartheid legacy, but there's still kind of issues within the political society because, to be honest, there's a lot of corruption that has taken place, and it's based on the principles of greed. A lot of people are suffering in South Africa. I'm going to be honest, because even though there's a new administration that is African inherently, it hasn't been going so well, because there's so much corruption that's happening that I'm sure when leaders come from a regime that downpress people, but when they get given an opportunity to change the status quo, and they're unable to do that because there's so much sufferation that is still happening. People are not as divided as they used to be. The collective isn't as divided as they used to be. But the fact of the matter is the administration isn't what it should be. There's a lot of things that are not 100% going well. I'm not like down talking my government or anything, but the reality is the reality. And I would only want to speak truthfully about something. I wouldn't want to say that, no, everything is fine. Since apartheid, everything's been going well. There have been changes, yes, there has been changes to empower our Black people, but there's so much more that is not being done. We have the highest unemployment when it comes to youth, and that is an issue. We have so many youth that can't find their way because they're not given opportunities that are fair. You understand? So it's one of those things that with time, I'm sure things will also change, because change always occurs. It's one thing that is constant. But I think and feel more can be done for our people. I really feel that way. More can be done because the corruption is just, it's enough of it. Greed has overshadowed everything else. There are so many people that are striving and struggling because of that greed. So many funds have been misplaced within our government for own selfish gain. And I'd rather, as a Rastafarian daughter and as a daughter of the Most, I speak truthfully about these things because it's the reality that we face in South Africa. So much is not right. Even though we had apartheid, people would make comments that administration was better under the regime of apartheid because things used to get done. There's so many, when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to employment rate, when it comes to gender-based violence within South Africa, which is one of the major issues that we also face in South Africa, they try to kind of, suppress us in a way that people can't really move forward and grow forward, especially when it comes to youth. That's one of the things that I'm very passionate about is the youth. And if the youth cannot find employment and they can't find ways to sustain themselves, then what are we building as a society? Because they are the future. They are our leaders, for the future. And if we're not giving them opportunities that really empowers them, then what kind of future are we looking at?
Isn't that sad though, Empress?
It's very sad, my sister.
That persons would say under apartheid, you had some things were being done, more was being done than under government now that is off, that looks like the people under the.
It's sad.
Isn't it sad though?
It's really sad. It's really sad because we come from, when Nelson Mandela came into power, we really thought this is it, this is what's going to really bring a shift. And it did. I won't take it away from them. It did. They won that liberation struggle. They really did. But the administration that is in power now, there's just too much corruption. There's too much greed. There's too much misplacement of funds that are supposed to use to empower the people and empower the country. And for people to be able to make those kind of comments, it's disheartening. It's really disheartening because what are we supposed to do now? This was what was brought forward as to bring us our freedom, but now we're not really free because the cost of living is way too high for anything,
Yeah.
And that's globally, but especially in South Africa, it doesn't make sense because there are not opportunities that are afforded to our African nation within South Africa that really make sure you are sustained in every aspect.
It is difficult because if you have a large sector of the society like the youth, if you have that cohort of people not being able to find themselves or find a way out, if that is happening, then the future doesn't look bright at all if that is the issue.
Exactly.
That is a challenge. That is a challenge.
But I really believe, like I've said before, change is a consistent thing. There will be a changeover because people are getting frustrated. I'm not talking about let's overthrow the government, but let us look at positive ways to make things better for one another. As a collective, as a society, we should be active in these kinds of things. We should be active in being honest enough. And I think in South Africa, people are frustrated. They're tired. That's why there's so much rioting. That's why there's so much looting. There's so many things that are happening within South Africa because people are tired.
People are tired. What would have come out of the Truth and Reconciliation if you remember anything, or if you have, what would have come? Because after all of that Truth and Reconciliation, you would have thought that people would come now to govern in a fair way so that majority of the people can benefit.
My sister, I can be honest, I don't believe anything good came out of that Truth and Reconciliation Commission, to be honest. Because the reality is they promise you something. It's like dangling a carrot, if you do this, if you do this, you're gonna get this. And people have always been, we want to keep our African brothers and sisters in power. Obviously, you know, we want to keep them in power. But we have a government right now, all the apartheid freedom fighters, all the people that were part of the struggle are running the country, but they're running the country to fill their own pockets. Because
And
I
that
think
is part of it. They would have been part of the liberation struggle, and now they get a chance to be in government. And rather than doing this for the people, they're doing it for themselves.
exactly, and that's the greatest issue we have, and that's just the reality that is there. That's why I say I wouldn't be a person that sugarcoats things, like say everything is nice, everything is fine. I would rather say, because in speaking truth, so much more can be done to change that reality. You know, it will encourage somebody, it will spark something in somebody to say, you know what, let's do something to change this. Because we need to be seeing more, we need to be seeing more youthful people within a government structure, because there's a different insight and a different vision that a younger person would have to better things. You know, each generation has the qualities of what they can bring forward on into this world. You know, they have
You say that.
the
Are the youth, though, what has been done to get the youth interested in politics? Because the thing is, if you don't put yourself forward, if you don't have that interest, if you don't demonstrate that kind of interest, then we will always gonna see all these older folks, and we are not into no ageism now, or we're against people who are of a particular age, but
yeah,
we're
no,
saying
definitely
in a
not.
society, if we have a large majority of youth, then in the parliament, we should see that demonstration there. And what are the youth doing to actively be a part of government or a part of politics, so they can have a hand in how the country and how things are run?
You know, when I think of it, when it comes to the youth and everything, when we think of at that time of apartheid, it was the youth that were the driving force, you know, of protesting and fighting against the struggle. It was the youth, and each generation has a way of fighting back in their own way. And I think with the youth now today, because of the world that has opened up so much via, you know, social media, things where people can really observe what is happening within the world, you know, not having just a viewpoint fed to them, but being able to harness a viewpoint that is holistic, in a sense that they are able to overstand certain things that weren't necessarily there back then. You knew that there was a struggle and you knew what you were fighting for, but now we have a reality where the future generation, they are more inclined to overstanding a worldview, you know, and they can do more. They can do more to be a driving change. And it takes a lot for them, because they see these things happening and they understand the the reality that it's not right, you know. So they will definitely come to the forefront. I can't say particularly what they're going to be doing, but they'll definitely be doing something, because everybody has had enough, you know. And the youth has a very important voice and role to play, because it's their futures, you know. It's their country that they're going to be leading one day, so they have to play their role as well.
Yes, 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 yes.
Whichever way,
We have,
whichever way it is, whichever way it
whichever
is, they
way,
have to play
whichever
their role.
way. We have a saying in Jamaica that we say, pressure bust pipe. So when the
Yes,
pressure
sir.
gets high, the pipe will burst. And when the
Yes.
pipe, when the pressure busts pipe, is whatever happened. Some people say if a dirt are just dirt. But when the pressure rises and the people can't take no more, then we're gonna see what we're gonna see. And this is not only in South Africa, but it is happening across the world. It
Exactly.
is happening across the world. I'm sure where you are in Uganda, it is happening. It is happening in so many African countries. It is happening in the Caribbean. It is happening everywhere. And when the people rise, change will come.
Definitely. I
When the
agree with
people
you
rise,
100%.
change will come. The music that you do, however, I am thinking is a way of lifting not only yourself out of this, but lifting others, because we have to find a way to lift ourselves out of this everyday kind of struggle. And the music you do is one such. Another song you think that we can play, and we're definitely going to be talking about whichever song you tell us to play, where that inspiration come from and how you want it to affect people across the world.
Mama Africa is calling. Mama Africa calling.
Mama Africa calling. We're going to listen to Mama Africa calling, and then we're going to talk to the artist about this song and how she wants it to affect the world. Mama Africa calling.
Whoa, Mama Africa is falling. Mystery Babylon is falling. Children of Zion answering. I Selassie, I the one commanding. Mama Africa is calling. Mystery Babylon is falling. Children of Zion answering. I Selassie, I the one commanding. Standing firm in his Armageddon times. Never fret, the unjust will pay for their crimes. Ancestral greatness coursing through our veins. How mighty it is when Jah takes the reins. The separation implemented on the roots of humanity. We'll be champions after enduring the brutality. Propagating slavery. Even in these times of modernity, Mama Africa is calling. Mystery Babylon is falling. Children of Zion answering. I Selassie, I the one commanding. Mama Africa is calling. Mystery Babylon is falling. Children of Zion answering. I Selassie, I the one commanding. We remember who we are when we let go of who it is we were taught to be. By those who never really want our innate power to reign freely. Shine your light, shine it bright. Children of the Most High is our purest delight. Go through him, the shackles that have been imposed will be broken when Babylon is deposed. Mama Africa is calling. Mystery Babylon is falling. Children of Zion answering. I Selassie, I the one commanding. Mama Africa is calling. Mystery Babylon is falling. Children of Zion answering. I Selassie, I the one commanding. Why fuss and fight when we can love and unite? Try ever blazing fire, ignite, removing the darkness from the light. Each one equal in charge of sight. Keep on hailing Selassie with all our might. Mama Africa is calling. Mystery Babylon is falling. Children of Zion answering. I Selassie, I the one commanding. Mama Africa is calling. Mystery Babylon is falling. Children of Zion answering. I Selassie, I the one commanding. Mama Africa is calling. Mystery Babylon is falling. Children of Zion.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Cultural Mix. Welcome back. I'm Bev Moonchild, your host. And this evening we are talking to an empress out of South Africa. She's in Uganda at the moment. Mystery Babylon is falling. Empress Naftali. What is Mystery Babylon?
Mystery Babylon is Mystery Babylon. It's the colonial powers that have taken over Africa. It is.
Mystery Babylon is falling.
It's falling, my sister. Mystery Babylon is falling.
Yes, one has fallen.
One has fallen indeed. And so shall the others too. You see me?
Yes, Mystery Babylon is falling. But while Mystery Babylon is falling and Africa is calling, what are we doing really? We just what we do? In a Jamaica, we just say, what we do?
You know, So many of our African brothers and sisters that were enslaved. This is what the song is basically about, the slavery as well that was endured. I personally come from a tribe called the Khoisan. They were enslaved within South Africa. They are the First Nation people of Africa, of South Africa. And that enslavement that ensued, and the enslavement of our brothers and sisters that are in Jamaica, all the islands, all the people that were taken abroad, you know, to serve these masters, these slave masters. Mama Africa is calling you to return, you know. Mama Africa is telling you it's time now to rise up as a nation, as a Black nation, as an African nation, to fight against the evils that Babylon uses to downpress us with. It's no longer a matter of complacency. We have to fight back. You know, we are living in an era that there's a huge shift happening within humanity, as you have seen, even with the Queen, the South falling. You know, there's so many different shifts that are happening within society, spiritually even, that is ensuing a changeover of note. You understand? So it's time for us to return back to who we are. It's time for us to embrace who we are. We need to be proud of what we have as African people. We need to.
How many of our people understand, as you speak about the changing of notes? And it's not only bank notes that will be changing over. The spiritual the what is happening now, and you say it is spiritual. How many of us understand? How many people understand the depth of what you just spoke of? That changeover that you continue to speak of. How are we going to make the people understand that this changeover time now for us to pick up from where some people would have left off? We know that some people are tired, but how do we get them to continue the struggle and to be even stronger now in this time?
There's a change in consciousness, my sister. You know, there's a change in awareness. The world isn't as closed off as it used to be. We're not put under a thumb of not understanding what is truth, you know, and that's the spirit of the Most High, truth. And we have to embrace the truth that the Most High delivers unto us. I feel I can't just speak about political terms because I'm a very spiritual person and I observe things in a spiritual way. So when I chant about a song, or when I write a song, or when I'm relaying a message, it is to reach out to the spiritual being, because that is a being that overstands beyond what the human mind can conceive. You know, it's not just about I'm reaching out to your meditation. It's I'm reaching out to your spirit. And when you bring forward messages like this, it's to reach out to the spirit, because the spirit is a driving force of what you do next. It's the next step. It's the next, you know, form of being able to know what to do next in this journey of life. So when I write with Mama Africa Calling, it was really important for me to say that brethren, sistren of Africa who are home and abroad, it's time to stand together, because Africa is the root of humanity. And when you heal and empower the root, everything permeates into the rest of humanity, because every single being on this earth has African heritage, because everything of humanity stems from Africa. Africa is the only continent on this earth that is rooted into the earth. The other continents drifted away, you know? So it's time for people, especially African people, to come back to their power, you know, to reclaim their power. Because in doing so, there's so much more that can be done to liberate a nation. There's so much more that can be done to liberate self.
Mama Africa is Calling. What was how long did it take you to write that song? What was the mood like? What really did you experience to put you into that mood to write that song, Mama Africa is Calling?
It literally took me a day to write that song. I literally wrote that song in a day.
Wow.
The mood of that song was just, I see myself as a voice, and I'm from Africa. I see myself as a voice for Africa, you know? And for us to, you know, when Jamaicans are crying out and chanting about repatriation, when our brothers and sisters are chanting about repatriation, I'm saying, come, we are calling you. It's time. you know. It's time now, because being in a society that doesn't value who you are inherently, you have to move away from that kind of society, because
I'm
here we
happy.
want to embrace you.
I'm happy you mentioned repatriation. So Jamaicans and those persons in the Caribbean, those persons outside of Africa would be calling for repatriation. Some people calling for reparation. Now you are on the continent self. What are you calling for?
I'm calling for everything you've ever learned that side. Bring it here so we can develop something more in South Africa. Every knowledge you've ever endured in, let us help build a better Africa. You know, I'm not saying Africa is the most perfect place. I can't say that. But there's so much more that can be done when we come together as a collective. I've learned this, you've learned that. Let's bring this knowledge together and heal and strengthen and build a better Africa, build a better nation. Because like I said, when you heal the root, you heal everything else.
You spoke earlier about the tribe that you are from in South Africa.
Yes.
What is that tribe called again?
The Khoisan tribe.
The Khoisan?
Yes.
What has become of your tribe? Do you still have do you have cultural? What has become? Has the tribe died out? What?
The tribe has not died out. You know, I remember when I was in school. When I was in school, they taught us that the Khoisan people are literally extinct. They're not a part of humanity. And I looked at these people, I looked at them really hard. I'm like, but they look like me.
Spell
How is
Khoisan
it possible? I can't say Khoisan to you because you see, this is the thing that I've been reasoning about, and this is what's also like the changeover that's happening within South Africa. There's a lot of people within the Khoisan movement and the Khoisan tribe that are really trying to reestablish their mother tongue, because one of the things that they did in slavery during that time was punish us, punish my ancestors from talking their language. So that language is the root of everything. I speak English because I went to an English school and everything. I speak Afrikaans as well. But the Khoisan language itself was almost, in a sense, when you cut off the tongue, how can you utter?
Do you speak any of your Khoisan tongue, any of your Khoisan language? Did you learn it? Have you learned it?
I'm learning. I know I'm learning now, especially now, because I also want to do music in the indigenous language. But I'm learning slowly, I can't speak it now fluently. I can't do that right now, but I'm learning definitely. It's something that I'm working on getting done, because I feel it will really be much more of an empowering thing, being able to harness that language as well, because it's one of the most ancient languages that there is, on the continent. So it's very important to reestablish that connection with the root.
So the Khoisan people, you have found out you're from the Khoisan people. Are there any plans to have like a coming together of this tribe that some persons say would have been extinct?
There's definitely movements within South Africa, especially in Cape Town, where there is a Khoisan community that's really rallying around to teach the knowledge and teach the language and reestablish the heritage of my people, because we were led to believe we believe we are meant to believe that we just mixed race, we weren't led to believe that we are Khoisan people. We were given this notion of, some people would even say, because they call us colored, they would say, they don't even have a heritage, because you have the Zulu, you have the Xhosa, you have the Sotho, they have their cultural roots. But because we were so down-pressed as a First Nation people, where we were so far removed from understanding our culture, that people really believe you don't even have a heritage, because you're just a mixture of everything and everything, which is true because of the colonial powers that took over South Africa, that there is a lot of different ancestries within the lineage. But
Mhm.
inherently, like my great grandmother, she was a Khoisan woman and she owned land and she was a midwife, you know. That
Mhm.
is one of the things that is empowering as a person, because you realize that before this thing was implemented, we were a peaceful nation, you know, and when you look at the history of the Khoisan people, when it's taught to you, you realize that this was a nation that was welcoming. You know, they didn't want to war, they didn't want to fight, but yet they were enslaved, they were captured, they were segregated and separated from their roots and from
Mhm.
expressing it and teaching it to children. As soon as you teach it to children, you are immediately terrorized for it, you know, especially when it came to the language. And it's something that it's definitely, like I'm saying, collectively there's a changeover happening, because people from my tribe, people everywhere in the world is having their own kind of awakening of coming back to who the Most High created them to be, who you are inherently, the truth of who you are.
We're going to come right back to who we are. Whether we are in
Yes,
South Africa, whether you're in Uganda, wherever you are going to come back to who you inherently are. And I believe you wholeheartedly with that one. How many languages are there, official languages in South Africa?
so there are 11 official languages in South Africa, and which is fun. The funny part about is Khoi Go Up, the language that they speak, that the Khoisan nation speak, is not even one of them. And
How
that's the
many?
saddest
11?
part. 11 languages, yes.
Mm-hmm. And
There's
your
11,
tribe's language is not part of the Khoisan language, is not part of the
not at
11.
all. Not at all. And we are the
How many?
indigenous people of South Africa.
Sad, really sad, sister.
So,
How many of the
yeah.
11 do you speak?
I only speak to my sister. But
And that's right.
I've learned Zulu before, and I've learned Xhosa, but I only speak English and Afrikaans, which is the other language that we use in South Africa, which is one of the official languages of South Africa.
English and Afrikaan.
Yeah, Afrikaans.
So if you were to talk to me and if you were to say, I am on the cultural mix with Bev Moonchild.
Ek is op die cultural mix met Bev Moonchild.
Ah. Or if you're listening to Fit FM in Jamaica.
Jy is ingeskakel by Fit FM in Jamaica.
And that's Afrikaan.
Yes, that's Afrikaans.
Yeah, the beauty of language and also English. Persons would say, but as I understood you on explaining to us that you weren't really taught about your tribe, you weren't really taught about your people. And guess what? People in Jamaica have the similar experience. The tradition, the cultural tradition, people in Jamaica would have had the same experience where our traditional heritage is want to be taken from us, wasn't really taught to us. It is the same wherever African people are. The heritage being taken away from you, and you're taught something brand new, something that is foreign to you, and you were forced to learn that language, forced to learn that lifestyle. And the aim is for you to forget who you really are. But as you say, the time is going to come when all of us are going to come back to who we were born to be. Some people will be willing to pursue the purpose, and some people might be tired and give up. But guess what? We're all going to go back to where we are meant to be. I really think so. I agree with you on that. As we talk about the music, who are some of the African artists, if there's any, that you really admire?
Oh, wow. I admire Fela Kuti. I admire Maria Makeba. The other artists that I admire were Lucky Dube, of course.
Yes.
Lucky Dube.
Yes.
Yes.
And let's flip it now to Jamaica. Any other Rastafarian artists, any other Jamaica reggae artists that you admire?
Oh, I've got quite a few. But I definitely say I definitely say I'm more inclined to the female artists because as a female artist, I like to see the sister rise. Empress Sativa, Janine, Queen Africa. That is like, those are the people that I admire, the sister that I admire. Obviously everybody admires Bob Marley. Bob Marley was really somebody that I was like, wow, when I was a little girl and I saw Bob Marley on TV, I'm like, who is this? What is going on there? This looks so beautiful. But for the female artists, I'm definitely drawn more to the feminine energy of the music, which is Jana and Empress Sativa and Queen Africa. I've always looked up to them, always follow their works and everything. So those are the artists that I really do admire within Jamaica.
Okay. Fair enough. We want to hear another song from you, and we're allowing you to choose that song again.
Okay, Trust in Jah.
Trust in Jah.
Yes.
We're gonna come back and talk to you about Trust in Jah. What inspired you for that one?
Spin FM 96.7.
Something better knows out on the face. Perseverance once overstand. The value of standing firm and stay past the test. Carve out your own path, no need to follow the rest. It's crucial for your purpose to manifest. Once you overstand this, you are eternally blessed. Man can still rise up even when downgrades. Trust Jah will be there in the moments of being distressed. Are you the ones that are invaluable? Trusting Jah, I know He's able. For surely He has prepared the table, ensuring that honest child and I are capable. No need to falter because of bad-mindedness. Stay clear from all kinds of slackness. Even those who curse are in need of peacefulness. Often it's the deepest pain that leads them to this wickedness. There's a deeper healing that needs to occur. Your love given abundantly causes the goodness in the wicked to stir. Your love given abundantly causes the goodness in the wicked to stir. Are you the ones that are invaluable? Trusting Jah, I know He's able. For surely He has prepared the table, ensuring that honest child and I are capable. Be open to love. Be wise enough to decide. On this walk of life, things may be unsure. Yet Jah has chosen for the hardest And you're the ones that are invaluable. Trusting Jah, I know He's able. For surely He has prepared the table, ensuring that honest child and I are capable.
Trust in Jah, Julia. Empress, I like that one. And I like the sound of your voice too. It sounds rich. Yes, it sounds so rich, and the music and the bass, it's something else. It's really, really nice music to listen to. Trust in Jah, I really love this one. What is the inspiration behind Trust in Jah? Who are the musicians too on these tracks that we are playing?
So this track, Trust in Jah, was produced by a Malawian producer, but he's based in South Africa. And his name is Willie Wheels.
Okay.
Um, the other tracks, Mama Africa and Judgment Due, was produced by a Jamaican producer. The company is called Hits After Hits Records. He's
Okay.
Rascongo. He's from Jamaica.
Okay.
And then the first song you played, Times We're Living In, was produced by Falura Sound within the United States of America. The inspiration behind Trusting Jah is we may endure tribulations, but we always have to put our trust in the Most High. That is important for us to carry us through, to give us strength, to guide us, to heal us, you know. Believing and trusting and knowing that the Most High is going to see you through even the darkest situation that you may endure. You are able to overcome it because of that faith that you have in the Most High, because surely the tides change by His grace and mercy. So, like it says in the chorus, surely He prepares the table, surely He prepares the table for everything that you've ever endured, that you felt was a battle that you were enduring, but you couldn't overcome it. At that point in time, you feel like, I can't make it through this. But when you just surrender it unto the Most High, when you give it unto the Most High, He changes situations in the most unexpected and beautifully blessed ways. And we have to always trust in Him. It doesn't matter what happens, trust in Him, trust in the Most High, always.
Did I hear something in a line in there about bad mind?
Yes, you did.
What you tell me what you know about bad-mindedness now? Bad mind. I think it was a Jamaican thing, bad mind. Talk to me about bad-mindedness. What you know about bad mind?
Bad-mindedness is the negativity, the negative people, the negative thought pattern, people that perceive things in a way that is not of a rightful mind. It's bad-mindedness for sure. It's negative. It's a negative mindset. There's a lot of people that think negatively towards people. They act negatively towards people, and we shouldn't pay them any mind, because, like I say in the song, those are the people that are broken themselves. That's why they act in that way. They need healing themselves, and it's one of those things where, like that song says, hurt people. Broken people want to create more brokenness because they don't know how to be whole. They don't know if you don't know what it is like to be whole, you are going to do whatever you can to make everything broken itself, because you don't know what wholeness is. But there is so much that shifts when you have a relationship with the Most High. That healing comes inherent. It just comes, like it flows to you, because healing is from the Most High. The Most High is love. Love is a healing. It's rooted in those principles that when you trust, like, as you can see, Haile Selassie is here with I and I always. But when you trust in the Most High, so much shifts, so much changes within your being, because we are spiritual beings by nature. We're not just humans. We are spiritual beings by nature.
First of all, yes, and we are carrying the spirit is in the body. How would you say bad mind now in your African tongue?
Why would I say bad mind in my African tongue? Now you're making me think, sister. I'm thinking of a word. Yes. I wouldn't know how to say it in Afrikaans. Slechte gedachtes. Slechte gedachtes. Slechte gedachtes.
Okay. 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 It's just one of those things, a lot of artists think about bad mind in Jamaica. So when I hear the bad mind coming out of your song, I'm saying, I wonder where she got that one from. Bad-mindedness. It's funny. You're getting a lot of big ups from persons who are listening.
Give thanks. Wow, yes, that's beautiful. Give thanks.
To say great interview. So we're getting those WhatsApp messages. And we thank those persons who are tuned in and those who are sending their feedback. We love to hear your feedback when we have discussions, when we have interviews. You give us your feedback. We are an interactive program, and so we like when people interact with us, and tell us how they feel about the interview. And they're saying great interview with Empress Naphtali. So thanks for that, Queen. You really giving us an insight as an individual living in South Africa, how you would have taken on this journey of wanting to find yourself, and you're finding yourself through Rastafari and through reggae music. That last song that we just heard, Trust in Jah, I really like the sound of it. It gives you a nice vibe when you listen. What's the feedback on your side for this one, Trust in Jah?
Wow, my sister, this is probably the most popular song I've created. Like, I get a lot of good feedback about the song. I really do. And I give thanks for it, because it was really, when I wrote the song, it was during the time of the hard lockdown, during COVID times. And I was like, I need to create something.
Oh, it's a new song.
It was written 2 years ago.
Okay.
But I recorded it last year. I released it last year as a single, but it's part of my latest album, Ebb and Flow. But I wanted to write something that could really, during those turbulent times that we were going through, especially with the COVID, with the lockdown and everything that was happening, I wanted to really put out something that could uplift and inspire people, because people needed it at that time. So many things were uncertain, so many lives were lost, so many things were happening that didn't really make sense to people, but when you put your trust in Jah, I mean, look, we now in 2022 and things have changed up, things have opened up so much more, and we're grateful for that journey, So
what kept you during that turbulent time?
Music and my faith. I'm a person that I enjoy writing a lot. I'm a writer by nature. So I was always just writing. And in the time, I purchased the studio mic, because the studios were closed. I couldn't go and record anymore. And I'm so grateful that I did that, because it gave me more power to put out more works. And I began working on a lot more different projects, voicing for rhythm compilations. And then I really started working on my album as well, that was recently released. So I'm grateful that the Most High gave me kind of that drive to continue with the works, because nothing can stop Jah works. That's the other thing. There may be a little bit of a battle before greatness ensues, but nothing can stop the manifestation of Jah's will for his children, in whichever way we serve, in whichever way we are called to fulfill our purpose. Each one is important, nothing is less or more important. Each one is important in their own right. So the music kept me going. It really kept me going during that time. Even though I wasn't performing, at least I was creating something, because I'm a creative person by nature. So being able to create music consistently on the journey was one of the greatest blessings that kept me going during that time.
Lovely. A number of artists would have shared that kind of sentiment, that when things got so unsure, people were so uncertain about what is going to happen next. People were even scared of the things that they were hearing, the news that they were absorbing. It was really a scary time. And a number of persons like yourself would have said, it's the music that kept me. Yeah. It's my talent that kept me. It's what I love to do that kept me. I write, I would have written a lot of songs or poems or, stories, or a number of books came out of that period. A lot of persons became authors out of that time when people were locked away from the world, and to date still don't understand what went on for that 2 years. A lot of people still don't understand. A lot of people still don't see what took place. One thing I want to ask you, Empress.
Yes.
What would be that desire of yours as it relates to your tribe? Because I'm for culture, I'm for cultural heritage, I'm for cultural retentions and so on. What would be your greatest desire as someone coming out of the Kaisan tribe? What it is that
My
you would have what you want to see happen, for your ancestors, for your tribe, for those persons who are coming after you, who would have that lineage to this particular tribe. What do you want to see in your homeland, South Africa?
my desire is for us to be recognized, for us to be recognized as the First Nation people. In the United States of America, they've recognized the indigenous Indian, the American Indian as indigenous people. But
Mm-hmm.
my greatest desire would be for us to be recognized for who we are, because there's a lot of reparations that come with it. And it's a lot of reparations that can actually help uplift the community. You know, it's really because of the lack of overstanding self. So much has happened within the colored community or the Khoisan community that there's gangsterism, there's drug addiction, there's gender-based violence. But when you really start to know and overstand yourself, especially as the Khoisan people, there's so much peace that comes out of it because they were a peaceable nation. They were peacekeepers. They were people that were connected to the earth. They were connected to the spirituality that was inherently theirs. There is something more empowering for them when that recognition is given. My desire would be for our government to really see, because the Khoisan nation has already approached them numerous times, but they block us. Each time they block us because they know what it means to get to that point. And it's something that I would really love to witness, even in my lifetime, to see that there's this recognition given to the people, because more can be done to create programs on a larger scale to educate our nation, and I think that's the most important thing, because you when you start educating the nation, you start educating the children, they have something to hold on to and something to fight for. They have a purpose to live for now, because they understand where they come from. They understand what it is they have done. It's really, the Khoisan nation is such a peace-loving nation. They respected earth, they respect each other, they respected all beings, they respected all life. And when you take that away from a person and poison them with drugs and poison them with alcoholism and all of these things that change the nature of a person into something that they're not inherently supposed to be, it's quite disheartening. But I feel like so much is shifting in the world that reality will definitely take place in its time. And I'm seeing within my community, within the Khoisan nation, that they are resilient in the fact that they're fighting for this thing. They are really going to bring it to the forefront because they've approached the president about it before. So let's just pray and trust that things will definitely change in that way, because I'd really love to witness it come to fruition for sure, because so much more can come out of it.
I'm listening to you and I'm saying we have so many similar experiences as people across the world. The experiences are basically the same. It's just that they would have happened at different parts, different geographical locations. But the experiences, my sister, are the same.
True.
The removal of your language. Yes,
we are all one.
We're all one. So when we say one life, one love, we really mean that, because in fact, it's the same story that you hear all the time.
Exactly.
It's the same story. Yes, it's the same story. And listening to you, I realize the stories remain the same as African peoples all over the world. At this point, I really want to give a big shout out to Royal Root Studio to make this interview, this discussion possible. So I really want to shout out Royal Root Studio at this time, and I want for you to let her know that we send out a shout out to her for making this
Give
interview.
thanks. Give thanks, Railroad Studio, for making this a possibility. It's such an honor to be able to have this reasoning. I feel like it's the most important reasoning that we could have, and it's a genuine kind of reasoning. And I give thanks for the opportunity that you presented, because it really gave me a platform to really express myself and express the music and allow that message to be out there in whichever form it came out of. Whether it was through the music or whether it was just through this reasoning, a message is a message nonetheless. Everybody has a wisdom to share, and this was very, very informative for me and a beautiful journey just having this reasoning.
How did Ebb and Flow come forward? The
Ebb
name
and Flow.
Ebb and Flow, yeah. Why Ebb and Flow?
Ebb and Flow is, for me, the name that I chose, Ebb and Flow, is because life, that is how life is. It's the ebb and flow. It's the highs and the lows. It recedes and it springs forward. Life is a journey that there's good and there's bad, but you coast between the two, And the one thing that is consistent, that is what the album is about. The message is the one thing that is consistent is the Most High and the Most High's teachings. And this album is definitely a reflection of my teachings that I've received with my journey on my journey with Rastafari. So it was something that it wasn't an easy road to walk. It's not the easiest road to walk, but it's the most fruitful, because the Most High is within each blessing. And even though there's bad that happens, or things that we experience or view as bad things, those are lessons that we learn. It only teaches us something. Life is a teacher, through the good and the bad. You rejoice when it's good. When it's bad, you have to be faithful, pray to the Most High, and learn and observe a situation so you can learn and grow from it. Because you know how they say you learn from your mistakes, you learn from the bad experiences that you encounter as well. And life is filled with both the good and the bad, and it's up to us what we take from it. It's the ebb and flow. It's
the ebb and flow of life.
The ebb and flow of life, yes.
The up and down. The good and the bad. Have you ever traveled into Ethiopia?
When I flew to Uganda, I was in Addis Ababa, but I didn't stay long. But I definitely love to go and visit the country itself.
Okay. Persons may want to think sometimes that because you're from Africa, you would have gone to all the countries in Africa. But it's not always the case. It's not always the case. After all of what you would have gone through as an artist and your 10 years of Rastafari, what are you looking forward to mostly?
I'm looking forward to spreading the message as far and wide as I possibly can, That is the one thing I'm looking forward to being able to travel to different countries to spread the word, to spread the message. I'm looking forward to just growing on this journey, because as much as I grow on this journey as a musical artist, I grow on this journey as a Rastafari daughter. And that for me is something that is more exciting, to grow as a Rastafari daughter and learn more wisdom and observe life in a way that is beneficial in terms of being able to relay messages that can better inspire, uplift, and heal people. That's my main mission, to spread that kind of love in that way. As much as I can sing songs like Judgment Due and really speak the truth, there's a lot of love that comes from speaking the truth. You'd never lie to a person that you don't love. So I'd never want to bring forward a message that doesn't portray that truth, because, everything that is good and blessed stems from the Most High, and that's love. The Most High is love. So everything expressed is a reflection of that love. So I feel that I'd really love to do more in terms of touring the continent, Africa, but also touring overseas so that the message can be spread far, That's one of the things that I'm looking forward to, right? Really getting out there and delivering the message to each one that is willing to receive it.
It's gonna happen.
give thanks.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Outside of music, what else do you enjoy?
Outside of music, I love researching. I love researching things. I love gardening.
Mm-hmm.
I love painting. I paint as well. Not
Okay.
the best painter, but I enjoy it as something to just express myself creatively.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of music, I also enjoy writing poetry and reading books.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just a person that's always looking or seeking for the truth in different forms that it comes from, and seeking for the purity of that truth, whether it's through art, whether it's through drama. I'm, like I said, I'm a writer inherently. I like writing short stories. I enjoy creating something that relays some form of wisdom, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you want to get creative, Empress, is there any particular place that you go to? Is there something that you have to do when you say, all right, I need to get a song out now, and so I'm gonna go to this place. You know, some people may say I have to go in a quiet area, for go in the, in where trees are and that kind of thing. Is there any particular thing that you have to do when you want to get creative to write a song or
When
a
I
poem?
want when I want to get creative, I like being in nature, especially grounding, like putting my feet on the earth and really
Mm-hmm.
just meditating and going within myself to
Mm-hmm.
kind of observe what is happening within myself. Um, but I also, I'm always like very meditative and prayerful. So I do a lot of praying just to, my thing is, I see myself as a messenger, and for me to be able to relay a message, I must have some form of relationship with the Most High that's always connected, you know. So I go
Mm-hmm.
into a space of always doing things that ensures that connection is strong, you know. That's just the type of person I am by nature. So, but one of the greatest things for me is going into creation. That's where you really find so much wonders that you can observe and
Mm-hmm.
experience, because the Most High is in creation himself. He's the creator, you know, and when you experience his creation and you in unison with it, you receive more of a pure message from it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, grounding, putting your feet on the ground and just getting that vibe, getting
Yeah.
that energy from the earth itself.
Mm.
We would have kept you up all this time. When we started, it was what, 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. It maybe it's
Yes.
about almost 4 o'clock now in Uganda,
Yes,
and
yes,
you
yes,
have
it is.
you have been talking with us, and I'm saying we really appreciate having this kind of reasoning, having this kind of discussion, understanding who Empress Naphtali is, her music, and where the music is coming from. Because many times you write, many times you perform, many times you sing, but we never hear from the artist. We never hear from
True.
the performer to say what kind of mood were you in, what was the mindset behind this song. And so we were happy, so happy that you took the time and you really talk with us. It's night, it's almost 8 o'clock here in Jamaica. So we will be going to bed, but it's time for you to rise there in Uganda. And
Yes, and I have a video shoot happening over the stretch of the weekend. So
we're happy that you could have come before your
yes,
video shoot. So when the sun comes up a little from now, when really the sun comes up, generally speaking,
like around about 6 o'clock.
around about 6 o'clock. So you just have a few hours before the sun comes up
Yes,
there
exactly.
in Uganda. I'm really, really happy that you took the time to talk to me on Cultural Mix. And look how time has flown, Empress. We were saying
Yes,
maybe an hour we will talk, but look at the time now. We really have, we still have so much that we could talk about. When you're talking sense, really time really flies. We are so happy, sister, for you taking the time out to talk with us on Cultural Mix. We are going to be playing the music here at Fit FM because I tell you, we love the music. We love it. We love it. We love the music. We love the
give
music.
thanks to him.
I love the sound of your voice. It is so, when you hear it, you just want to continue hearing it. It does something to the spirit, my dear, when we listen to music, and we are happy. We are so happy for you, and we wish only the best for you. Everything you
Give
want is going to
thanks.
come forward. Everything is you're wanting, it's going to come forward. As you say, it's your faith that was keeping you, and it is your faith that will continue to keep you. We are so happy for you, and we want nothing but the best for you as you move forward. Thanking you so much for stopping by and talking with me here. And the listeners, they enjoy it. They enjoy it. They enjoy it. And we're going to be hearing more of your music on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music. It's Cultural Mix, Empress. And I personally want to say enough love, and keep moving forward, and keep singing more music, keep singing more songs, keep writing more music, and being that pleasant spirit and that pleasant soul that you are. I enjoyed really talking with you.
Give thanks, Queen. This was such an honor. Give thanks for having me. It was such a beautiful experience, and I'm just grateful. Blessings to each one that tuned in. Blessings to Royal Roots Studio, and blessings to you on your journey. I pray nothing but blessings of prosperity on your path, Queen.
Thank you so much, my sister, and all the very best for your video shoot.
Give thanks, Queen.
Take care, and all the best. We love all the people in Uganda and the people in South Africa. Let's continue the conversation outside of this arena. Thank you so much.
All right.
All the best.
Give thanks. Blessed love.
All the best, sister. All the best. All the best. Empress Naftali. Which one we still listening to? Trust in Jah.
Carve out your own path, no need to follow the rest. It's crucial for your purpose to manifest. Once you understand this, you are eternally blessed. Man can still rise up even when down close. Trust Jah will be there.
96.7.
Being distressed.
Jungle Morning.
You're the ones that I invite you back. Trusting Jah, know He's able. For surely He has covered the table, ensuring that honest child and I are capable. No need to falter because of bad-mindedness. Stay clear from all kinds of slackness. Even those who curse are in need of peacefulness. Often it's the deepest pain that leads them to this wickedness. There's a deeper healing that needs to occur. Your love
Fit FM 96.7 for the best in reggae music.
Some people seek for something better and lose out on the best. The perseverant ones overstand. The value of standing firm can stay past the test. Carve out your own path, no need to follow the rest. It's crucial for your purpose to manifest. Once you overstand this, you are eternally blessed. Man can still rise up even when pressed. Trust Jah will be there in the moments of being distressed. Are you the ones that I invite you back? Trusting Jah, know He's able. For surely He has covered the table, ensuring that honest child and I are capable. No need to falter because of bad-mindedness. Stay clear from all kinds of slackness. Even those who curse are in need of peacefulness. Often it's the deepest pain that leads them to this wickedness. There's a deeper healing that needs to occur.
Trust in Jah. Wow, what a lovely song. Really, really. When we hear the bad-mindedness, we say, wow. We continue to hear bad-mindedness in so many songs. But we are going to be good on this side, and we're going to be making sure that we are happy for people when they are doing well. So we don't have no bad mindedness around here. So on Cultural Mix, Fit FM 96.7, you're alive, your music. We're really happy for the persons who have joined us. It is just one of those smooth kind of vibe for Cultural Mix this week. We're happy that you could have stayed with us. The sister, wow, our voice is so lovely. Just make you hear that kind of, you feel one kind of way when you hear her music. And of course, as I said to her, we're going to be playing that and other songs from her album, Ebb and Flow, here at Fit FM. It has been good. Really, really lovely Friday evening. So much things happening in Jamaica. I mean, I even did talk about it before we begun. But we want people to understand that things will always be happening around us. But we are not to lose our focus. Remain focused on the things that we want to achieve. Remain focused on the things that we want to do, because things will always be happening. And this week is no different. We had so much killing happening in the week here. Another thing that I should have spoken about, I don't know if I need to talk about it now because after such an inspiring interview, but let me talk about it quickly. That gentleman down in Westmoreland who lost his children to a fire. I saw a post that he made the day before, laying out the children's clothes, them school shoes, them bag, and the uniform for the 15-year-old daughter. 13. And he was saying in the post that he made, the mother missing and me a single father. It's hard, but me I go through. Tomorrow is school, and like him I say, boy, him have most of the things them fi mute them start school the following day. And to know that right after that post, Sunday night, a fire just take with 3 of the children them we talk about. And today I saw where the 13-year-old was flown abroad. And it's a disgrace now that Jamaica don't have a burn unit. So what we are going to do? Everybody will get burned if we go get fly out. And every time people get burned to the point where they have to leave the country, they have to pick up collection. Because it costs so much to just to fly out. And I'm happy though that there were persons who came together and allow for the 13-year-old to go away to get treatment. But Jamaica don't have a burnt unit. And we're going to be talking about why we don't have a burn unit in Jamaica. I don't know. I'm just asking. Those are some of the things we need to mourn about. Those are some of the things we need to mourn. We need more than 12 days of mourning for some of these things. We need to mourn about our children who are just missing. We need to mourn about women who are being battered. We need to mourn about the fact that so many things can happen. We need to mourn about the fact that teachers are just packing up and leaving Jamaica. Professionals are packing up and leaving. We need to mourn about those kind of things. I weep for my country sometimes. I think we have lost our what it is that we want. What we want really, I don't know. Some of the things we want are superficial. Some of the things we want don't exist. We need to really, as a sister said, focus, learn self, understand why we are truly here, what our purpose is. Because sometimes I think we miss our purpose. And that is why some of the things happen here in Jamaica. Let us mourn for the right reason. And when we mourn, we not just stop mourn, but after the mourning, we get up and we do what we need to do. We are a strong nation. We are a resilient people, but sometimes it's like we lose hope and we just get what's the word? We just can't bother. We get tired. But as I was speaking to the Empress, and she said, we can't be tired. We have to get up. We have to get up and do what we want. When the people think they have had enough, they're going to rise up. And Jamaica is no different. Wow, what a Friday evening. We are coming down. Tomorrow is Saturday, then we have Sunday. People, I'm saying, let us keep hope alive. In all of what is happening, let us keep hope alive. And let us also help others. As Bob Marley said, if my life are for me alone, Me no want it. Let us see how we can help others as we go through. And things might be tough, things might be hard, but let us at all times see how we can help others out of their hard times, out of their tough times. We say on this program, let us impact positively. We can't give up on that, no matter how things are hard. Let us try to impact positively. It has been awesome being here, and we thank those persons who stayed with us. We thank you. Come back next week for another interesting program, another interesting guest on Cultural Mix for next week. We thank you, Julia. All the very best. I'm Mara. Big up yourself wherever you are. And wherever you joined us from, folks, we want to say thank you. Keep talking to us and come back next week again. Bev Moonchild saying, have an awesome weekend and take care. All the very best. Jah guide.
Ebb and flow of life, we rejoice after all the strife. Any which way we go, from each lesson we grow. Everything in unison, nothing is out of place. Our ever-living creator is designator of time and space. We are not without purpose, we come to heal through being healed. All in time, this awareness is revealed. We teach by being humble enough to be taught. These pearls of wisdom can never be bought. Ebb and flow of life, we rejoice